Welcome back to my channel everyone, this is Sir Paints a Lot, and in this video I'll be painting Prince Vhordrai and his giant dragon. First off, let's build his base. So I really don't like just sticking the model on the base and putting some texture. I really like to add some definition to it, or some kind of raised area like a cliff. This is from Lorgar's base, the Primarch from Horus Heresy, and I'm not going to paint the model, so I just thought, hey, I'm going to use that as some like steps, and I played around. And then I was thinking of using this fence from the Mausoleum box set, but then I thought, nah, there's no space. Then I used this scenery from Age of Sigmar terrain, you can still buy it, and I was just, here you can see me, I'm playing around with it. I'm like, where can this go? I don't want it to be on one side of the base, I want it to be balanced. Then I used some stones and I just stuck them in. I'm just playing around with it really. I wanted to add some OSL, so I thought this brazier is perfect. Brazier? Not brazier. Brazier. But it's too tall, so I cut it down so it's like destroyed, so it's right below the face, the head of the dragon, because that's where I want the glow to be. Thanks for watching so far. I'm glad you're still here. Please leave a like if it's, you know, useful and you're enjoying it. Leave a comment as well, like I'd like to hear your stories of your basing, or what would you suggest me to paint next, or is there any kind of army you like, or you're not too sure how to paint something. I'll definitely be happy to make a video of that. Anyway, let's go back to this video. So I'm also adding texture paint now, just to cover up all that putty and clay and any kind of areas that need filling in as well. And this is how it looks. Looks like Christmas really, doesn't it? And then I've sprayed it white. Actually, that's a lie. I sprayed it blue, ultramarine blue or Macragge blue from Games Workshop, and then I did a zenithal of white scar spray from above, so you can see some blue in it. The throne is separate. I did Rune Lord brass spray. I'm gonna stick it on this little painting plinth thingy. So first off, let's paint the dragon first. It's pretty simple. Creed camo as the base color. I didn't really thin it, I made it nice and thick, and I'm just going over the whole model, even the wing membranes, just everything really. That's how it looks. Now I'm going to try these P3 paints. Traitor Green. It's very similar to Death World Forest from Citadel. And now I just dry brush. It's quite a heavy dry brush. I've only wiped down a tissue a teensy bit. A little bit. I haven't used that word for ages. Teensy bit. But yeah, it means a little bit. And I'm just going over the model and just picking out all the areas. And now I'm using Ogreen camo, and that's going to be the highlight to the dry brushing. But again, I go over the whole model, but I mainly focus on the areas that would be catching the light from the sun, if there is a sun in this world, if it's the vampire world. Pterodon turquoise now, and what I do, I paint it on the tips, the edges of the membrane, or you can go like halfway down, or just below halfway, just above halfway. And then what I do, I wash off the paint, and then I blend it into the other green. So here you go, it's just water on my brush now, and what's happening, I'm just spreading it around and making like a gradient. It takes a bit of practice, but just keep trying, and make sure to go thicker on the edges, and then as you get lower, you just use water. You can have a little bit on your brush too, like some paint and more water, and you just play around with it, and you'll just get a feeling. Then I use it now as like a wash, like a shade, and I just go over the whole model with a very watered down Pterodon turquoise, and you can just see it's starting to shade some of the muscles and sinews and all the flaps in the skin. It takes a bit of time, but it's worth it. So I use Shyish Purple to paint all these spikes that come out the back and are part of the wing too. Now I use Black Water Sand from P3. It's very similar to Rakoff Flesh, but a bit lighter. And I use that now as like a base color for the horns. It's fantastic paint. It covers really well. Really love using it. I'm really enjoying P3 paints at the moment. But I'm looking at some similarities between my usual Citadel paints too. Now I use Volupus Pink. I chose this because, like dry brushing, slap chop, because I've dry brushed all this green all over it, the green camo, it's kind of gave it a bit of like a highlight, so it's perfect for contrast paints. So as it's a bit like a light pink color, it doesn't totally cover the area, it actually shows like where I've dry brushed over it, which is great because it saves time for, you know, when you have to edge highlight this big monster and sometimes you don't want to. I even add it into like the creases or anywhere like there's some cracks, just to show there's some discoloration and bruising as well. So I chose Stormfiend for the base. I wanted to go blue. I'll probably change it later, you'll see. Now I use Skeleton Horde Contrast and go over the horns and the skull. You can see the base now is bright blue, like it's a bit cartoony. So what I did, I started experimenting with like greys and browns and just dry brushing over the base now. Grey Lord as well. This is a really nice grey too, and that's how it looks. I like to paint the rims a bit early. I'll probably have to do it a few more times, to be honest. So I use Jack Bone, another fantastic paint, quite similar to Upshanti Bone, but the coverage is much better. And I just edge highlight the horns. I also dry brush over the skin as well. There's not much on my paint at all. There's not much on my brush at all. And I just go over the whole model now with this bone, and it really starts to pick out all these details and creases and raised areas. It's a bit of a lazy highlight, should we say, but I think it works. I use it a lot for army painting when I'm doing clothes or shields or wood. It really saves time. I use Screaming Skull for the teeth, just to make them a bit different from the rest of the skull. I also pick out the ribs and protruding bones. I use Dawn Yellow for the eye. Now I'm using Copper Pipe just to paint all these metallics. So let's paint Prince Vhordrai. So I've zenithal it, but I'm not too happy with it. So what I'm going to do is use my airbrush and use this blue Liquitex ink, and I'm going to spray from below. You can even use a rattle can for this and spray from below, like I've done with this ink. You can get a similar kind of result. And then from above, you can spray again with a white, another zenithal. I also had some in my brush, some white, so I start to spray the areas that will be OSL. Now I use this crimson from Liquitex, and I spray that from above, but when I spray from below, I turn down the pressure. I don't press the trigger as hard as I usually would, and I just kind of mist it, just to keep that gradient showing, that shadow area. And I thought, hey, I've got some more in my airbrush, so why not spray the model and add some bruising and just add a bit of visual interest to the model. I used the same paint, well, ink, and I covered the throne now, the 2 dragons on top, over like metal, so it has a kind of has a metal edge highlight to it. Then I use silver to darken down some of the areas, and I use burgundy for this fabric here. To be honest though, you won't really see it. You'll still see a bit, but not much. And I use Storm Fiend again, just to paint the little cushion where Vhordrai sits on. Then I use Garrick Sewers, and I just paint the saddle. Blighted gold now. This is a nice gold color. And I just pick out some of the plating with it. And I use those same paints to pick out details of Vhordrai and his little, what's it called, the rain. Garrick Sewers again. I use silver to pick out the chainmail underneath his shoulder plate. And I use Black Legion, should be Black Legion contrast paint. I just paint his cape with that paint. I glue on the first leg now. I use super glue for this one. Then I use coal black. This is a really nice black. It's very similar to Dark Reaper from Citadel Paints. Also similar to Incubi Darkness too. Just airbrush that. You can even dry brush this. If you don't have an airbrush, you can dry brush it over the cape. Just be very careful and have not too much paint on it. I glue the model on, and I use Iron Rex skin just to paint the head. There's not much flesh going on with this guy, so it was pretty easy to do. Now I use Druchii Violet, like a pink ink, purple ink or purple shade is also fine. And then you just go over all the red areas and even the face as well. Scorn Red, it's just a lighter red really, and that will just edge highlight the armor panels. I even dry brush a little bit when I have less paint on my brush. Now I glue on his little lance, and basically I paint that with silvers and nothing special really. So finishing touches and OSL. So Garrick Sewers, I paint all the little trees and vines on his base. And I tried using some panel line dark brown just to pick out the stones as well, and all the rocks on the base and the tombstones. It's good stuff, I recommend it. And even to kind of darken the horns on the tips. And I thought I'd go back to the wings a bit. I'll try airbrushing this ink over it. It's like a green blue, a very dark turquoise. I also dry brush some Screaming Skull or Jack Bone over the bone areas as well. I tried using brass balls. It's like a very light color on the shield, just to make it a bit, I don't know, stand out a bit. And I used it on the lance too. And then I used black and Garrick Sewers on the weapon here, the black blade I would call it, and the shield as well. And I just use red ink for the flag. And good old snow. So I covered most of the base with the snow. This is like a kind of dry brush effect, but I'm just picking out all the areas where the snow would, you know, sit. For the OSL part, I've actually got a tutorial for the Flesh Eater Quartz. You can use that as well, but I thought I'd just share it here. So now I use orange fluorescent from the side, and I'm just catching the top area of the blade of the flame. You can see now the top part is a bit more orange and the lower part is a bit more yellow. And I'm also hitting the bottom of the neck and the head. I'm spraying from below of the dragon itself and trying to hit the wings, like the tips of the wings or its feet that are close to the area of where the flame is. And I'm also picking out some of the rocks too that would be catching the light. Just pick out the things that are closest to the flame and then you'll be fine. Not everything needs to be covered with the light. And that's how it looks. So Prince Vhordrai is finished and ready for battle. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. As I said in the beginning, please leave a like if you found it useful or is entertaining. It really helps me a lot. And please leave a comment sharing your thoughts too. I always want to hear from the community. And when you do, it really makes my day as well. And please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And hopefully I'll see you next time. Take care everyone. Bye.